Missile trails at dawn, mosques in rubble, and two nuclear rivals facing off. Just how near are we to the unthinkable this morning?
It's Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Early today, India launched missile strikes into Pakistani territory. Official reports say at least 26 have died, with dozens more wounded. The whole region is tense, waiting. But, why now? Why did this flare up today?
The spark was the massacre last month in Indian-controlled Kashmir. Gunmen killed 26 people, mostly Hindu tourists. India blames Pakistan for having a hand in it. Pakistan denies this, but India says it targeted what it calls terrorist infrastructure in reply.
And India named the operation Operation Sindoor. They say they struck 9 different sites. According to the Indian Defense Ministry, these were centers used to plan attacks against India. But Pakistan claims civilians were the main victims. One missile hit the Subhan Mosque in Bahawalpur, 13 dead, including a child.
Right, and that's crucial. The Indian government keeps insisting these were measured and non-escalatory strikes. But, if missiles hit civilian areas, can you really call it non-escalatory?
Pakistan fired back almost immediately. They say they shot down several Indian fighter jets. The wreckage landed in Indian-controlled Kashmir, and then there was shelling across the line of control. 7 civilians reportedly killed on the Indian side. Local police confirmed that.
So both sides are exchanging fire, and the number of casualties is going up. These are the worst clashes since the Pulwama-Balakot crisis back in 2019. But this time, the situation is different. Both countries are nuclear powers, and there's talk now of acts of war.
Yeah, and Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called the strikes an act of war. He promised a forceful response. That's diplomatic language, but it's also, a very direct warning. Is anyone stepping in to mediate at this point?
Globally, there's concern but not much action yet. The U.S. says it's closely monitoring. President Trump, still in office, called the situation a shame. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is supposedly working to cool things down, but we haven't actually seen direct mediation yet.
Russia's asking for restraint. China's watching but hasn't made a move. Are these just, statements? Or will we see any real diplomatic pressure?
So far, it's mostly just words. The bigger risk is that India and Pakistan aren't communicating directly. If there's a miscalculation, what's there to stop this from getting worse?
And that brings up the nuclear issue. Both have nuclear weapons. India says its operation was limited, but with jets downed and civilian casualties, how thin is the line between limited and uncontrolled escalation?
History tells us escalation can be sudden. The last 3 wars all started over Kashmir. The current line of control was drawn after the 1971 war. The Kashmir dispute. It's still the core issue.
And what about the people caught in all this? In Pakistan, at least 26 killed by the strikes, including that child at the Bahawalpur Mosque. Dozens injured. On the Indian side, at least 7 civilians dead from Pakistani shelling. Hospitals are overwhelmed.
People are already being displaced. Damage to infrastructure is serious, but we don't have the full picture yet. How do families deal with this fear and uncertainty again?
That's the real cost. Families fleeing, hospitals jammed, children in the crossfire. The world is watching. But will it actually help?
Looking forward, there are 3 pressing questions. 1. Can diplomacy move fast enough to stop more violence? 2. Will the U.S., China, or Russia step up beyond just talking? And 3. What happens to civilians if this keeps escalating?
The next few days will be crucial. Is this just a limited clash or the start of something much bigger between 2 nuclear neighbors?
That's really the central issue. The roots go deep and the risks are high. We'll keep tracking how this unfolds.
You've been listening to our breakdown of the India-Pakistan missile crisis, a point where history, politics, and lives all intersect. Stay informed, stay safe, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll return with more updates as the story develops.